Hello everyone, and welcome back to CM50, the video edition. In this video, we'll be expanding on Unit 22 of CM50, which covers prepositions. So what are prepositions? Well, they are words that indicate the relationship between other words in a sentence. This is from page 39, Unit 22.1. Now, this may seem like a very general statement, but that is because there are so many prepositions and the rules around them are not always clear. But take a look at this sentence: I came back China. We know that there is something missing from this sentence, something that ties together the different parts, the different words in the sentence to show us the relationship between them. For example, I came back from China. But is from the only preposition that we can use here? No, we could say I came back to China. How about in this sentence? What does the Bible say marriage? Again, we see that something is missing from here to tie together the different parts of the sentence. What does the Bible say about marriage? So the reality is, prepositions are tricky to learn. There are so many of them. And also, a single preposition can change meaning depending on the context. Also, prepositions don't always translate directly from one language to another. And lastly, the rules around prepositions are inconsistent, making them less predictable. So, this is the unavoidable truth. Prepositions are tricky to learn. So, the best thing to do is to learn and memorize lots of sentences and copy them. Let's go back to this sentence. What does the Bible say about marriage? So here the preposition is about. And in Chinese, that's guānyú. Let's take a look at that sentence. What does the Bible say about marriage? 关于婚姻，圣经怎么说? So again, here we see one of the difficulties in learning prepositions, because in the English, the preposition comes toward the end of the sentence. What does the Bible say about marriage? But in the Chinese, it's right at the beginning. 关于婚姻，圣经怎么说? So we wouldn't say 圣经怎么说关于婚姻. This would be incorrect. So that's the preposition 关于, which means about. Another common one is 从, which means from. Let's have a look at an example sentence. I will study harder from now on. 从现在开始，我会更努力学习。So 从现在开始, this means from now, starting, 我会更努力学习. I will more harder study. So again, we can see that in the English, the preposition comes toward the end. I will study harder from now on. We could also say, from now on, I will study harder, and this would align more with the Chinese 从现在开始，我会更努力学习. However, we don't want to make the mistake of thinking that all Chinese prepositions go at the beginning of the sentence. For example, this same preposition 从 can also come towards the middle. I have just returned from China. 我刚刚从中国回来.我 just 刚刚 from 从 China 中国回来 return. So can't we just say 从中国我刚刚回来? This would be incorrect. So, as mentioned, that is the reason why prepositions are tricky to learn, and the best method is to learn and memorize lots of sentences and to copy them. Let's take a look at another preposition, 跟, which means with. Here is an example. I'm going to watch a movie with him. 我跟他一起去看电影. Now note the difference in the word order. In English, noun 1, I, is at the beginning of the sentence. Then at the end of the sentence is the preposition with and noun 2, him. Whereas in Chinese, it's noun 1, the preposition, and noun 2 all together at the beginning of the sentence. 我跟他. So this is how we use 跟. So we wouldn't follow the English structure and say 我去看电影跟他一起. This is incorrect. So we must have 我跟他 at the beginning. I with him 一起去看电影. And here's another example. This matter has nothing to do with you. 这件事跟你没有关系. So again, in English, noun 1, this matter, is at the beginning of the sentence. Then at the end is the preposition with and noun 2, you. However, in the Chinese, noun 1, 这件事, and 跟, the preposition, and 你, noun 2, are all together at the beginning of the sentence. 这件事跟你没有关系. Now the next preposition we want to talk about is missing from this sentence. The child smiled her mum. What preposition would we need to complete this sentence? At. Now let's think about what at tells us. It tells us that the smile was directed at her mum. Or to put it another way, the mum is the target of the verb smile. So at marks the target of the verb. And in Chinese, the equivalent of this is 对. So 对 is the target marker. And as such, it corresponds to prepositions like towards, at, for, and to. So for example, back to this sentence, the child smiled at her mum. In Chinese, we would say 孩子对他的妈妈微笑. So just like at marks the target of the verb, 对 also marks the target of the verb. However, note the difference in sentence structure. In English, we would say subject, verb, preposition, target. Subject, the child, verb, smiled, preposition, at, target, her mum. But in Chinese, the preposition would be 对, and also the sentence structure would be different. Subject 对, target, verb. 孩子 subject 对，他的妈妈 target 微笑 verb. Let's have a look at another example. He said to me. Now here, the target marker is to. The verb is said. And who is the target of the verb said? It is me. He said to me. But in Chinese, we say subject 对, target, verb. 他对我说. And then we can complete it with whatever sentence, whatever the person said. 他对我说你好. Another example. Vegetables are good for health. Now here the target marker is the preposition for. 蔬菜对身体好. Now we might look at this and think, well, shouldn't the last element of this structure be a verb? But good is an adjective. But is this the same for 好? Well, while in English good is just an adjective, in Chinese 好 is not just an adjective, it is also a verb. In other words, 好 doesn't just mean good, it means to be good. So it has the to be verb built into it. So therefore, it still meets the structure. Subject 对, target, verb. Subject 蔬菜对, target 身体, verb 好. Now we just need to talk about a couple of words. 帮助 help, 兴趣 interest. In order to use these in a 对 sentence, they need to be paired with 有. So 帮助 means help, 有帮助 means helpful. 兴趣 means interest, 有兴趣 means interested. Are you interested in the Bible? 你对圣经有兴趣吗? So in English, the directional preposition is in. This shows us that the interest is directed toward the Bible. In the Chinese, we use 对. 你对圣经有兴趣吗? Now, can we just say 你对圣经兴趣吗? This is incorrect. So the correct way is 你对圣经有兴趣吗? Studying the Bible can help us. 学习圣经对我们很有帮助. Now you might notice that in the English, there is no preposition. But we can change that. Studying the Bible is helpful to us. So now the preposition to tells us the direction of the helpfulness. It is directed toward us. And 对 covers this in the Chinese. 学习圣经对我们很有帮助. Now to make the point again, we cannot say 学习圣经对我们很帮助. Again, this is incorrect. It must be paired with 有. 学习圣经对我们很有帮助. So that's the target marker 对, which corresponds to words like towards, at, for, and to. Now let's take a look at 把, which is the result focus. Take X and do something to it. So 把 focuses on the result of a subject's action on an object. Now a normal sentence structure is subject, verb, object. So for example, God destroyed Sodom. Subject, God, 上帝. Verb, destroyed, 毁灭了. Object, Sodom, 索多玛. So this is just a straightforward subject, verb, object sentence. But with a bar sentence, firstly the object gets shifted toward the front, and then we add bar. Subject, bar, object, verb, result. 上帝把索多玛毁灭了. So now we are really emphasizing the result of God's action on the object 索多玛. Here's another example. Subject, verb, object. He drinks coffee. 他喝咖啡. Now let's make that into a bar sentence. He drank the coffee. 他把咖啡喝. Now actually, there is something missing from this sentence. Subject, he. 他把. Object, the coffee. 咖啡. Verb, 喝. So what is missing? Result. So actually this sentence is incorrect. And one way to fix that, and there are several, is to add le. Now as we'll learn in Unit 25, le tells us that a verb has been completed. And it is an acceptable result that can complete this structure. Now in many cases, using the bar structure is optional. We could just use the SVO, subject, verb, object structure for this. 他喝了咖啡. 他把咖啡喝了. It's just that the focus would be different. So sometimes the bar structure is optional. At other times, it is an absolute must. For example, in a sentence like this, she put the book on the table. This is grammatically correct in English, but in Chinese, 她放书在桌子上 is incorrect. And why is that? Well, on the table, 在桌子上 is a location. And 放 is a placement verb. We're describing how we place a physical object in a particular location. Now, unlike in English, in Chinese, the placement verb and the resulting location must come together. There can be nothing between them. And so that's where 把 comes into it. 他把书放在桌子上. So here the result is the location on the table, 在桌子上. So in this case, using the bar structure is similar to saying something like, she took the book and put it on the table. So we can see the placement verb, put, is next to the location on the table. And the same in Chinese. The placement verb, 放, is next to the resulting location, 在桌子上. Here's another example. He hung the picture on the wall. 他挂图画在墙上. Now here the placement verb is 挂, and the resulting location is 在墙上. And we can see that the placement verb and the resulting location are not together, so this is incorrect. We can fix this with 把. 他把图画挂在墙上. He took the picture and hung it on the wall. So the placement verb hung is next to the resulting location on the wall. Same in Chinese. 挂 is next to 在墙上. Here's one more example. The child threw the rubbish into the bin. Here the placement verb is throw or threw. And in Chinese this is 扔. So as 扔 and 垃圾桶, which is the resulting location, the bin, are separated, then this is incorrect. And again, 把 comes to the rescue. 孩子把垃圾扔进垃圾桶. So can we use 把 with every verb? For example, can we say, he liked the movie? 他把那个电影喜欢了. Well, 把 is used with verbs that represent actions that directly affect objects and lead to a result. This is not the case with 喜欢. Now, why is that? Well, when we go back to this sentence, 他把图画挂在墙上, 挂 actually affected the picture. As an end result of the action 挂, the picture 图画 ended up in a different location. But in this sentence, he liked the movie, 他把那个电影喜欢了. 喜欢 is a verb that just describes a feeling or a preference and liking. It doesn't cause a change in the state of an object. It has no effect on it. In other words, if I hang a picture on the wall, then the picture is affected in that it's now in a different location. So this is a bar sentence. However, if I like a movie, the movie remains completely unaffected. It doesn't change in any way. Therefore, he liked the movie is not a bar sentence. Instead, we would just say 他喜欢那个电影, the simple subject, verb, object sentence, which is the typical way to express emotion or preference in Chinese. Here's another example. I love my family. 我爱我的家人. So not 我把我的家人爱. 我爱我的家人. Subject, verb, object. And the same here. My mom is scared of spiders. 我妈妈怕蜘蛛. Not 我妈妈把蜘蛛怕. This is incorrect. So that's the result focus, 把, which is used to form sentences like take X and do something to it. Lastly, let's have a look at the subject focus, 被, which we use to form the passive voice. So the other sentence structures that we've looked at are active voices. For example, subject, verb, object. This is the active voice. And the same as subject, 把, object, verb, result. Again, this is the active voice. However, 被is used for passive sentences where the subject is the recipient of the verb. So note, the subject is the recipient of the verb. In active sentences, the subject is the doer of the verb. God destroyed Sodom. 上帝把索多玛毁灭了. So God, 上帝, is both the subject and the doer. In a bei sentence, however, the subject is the recipient of the verb and the doer is someone else. Sodom was destroyed by God. 索多玛被上帝毁灭了. So here, the doer is God, but the subject is Sodom, 索多玛. Now, it might be helpful to think of bei as having a similar function to the word by, but not exactly the same, and we'll explain why later. But if we think of it as having a similar function, then it can help with the sentence structure. Sodom, by God, was destroyed. 索多玛被上帝毁灭了. This forms a passive voiced sentence. Now, why do I say that bei does not mean by? It's not exactly like by. Well, because in passive voiced sentences, we can actually omit the doer, in which case the word by does not even appear in the English sentence. But in the Chinese, we would still use bei. Sodom was destroyed. 索多玛被毁灭了. Here's another example. My phone was stolen by a thief. 我的手机被小偷偷了. And without the doer, my phone was stolen. 我的手机被偷了. So we use bei to form passive voiced sentences. So those are just a few of the most common prepositions, and as mentioned, they are tricky to learn. However, with practice and exposure to lots of sentences, then it does get easier to recognize the correct patterns and structures as time goes by. So that's it for prepositions, and as always, there's more to come in the following units. See you next time.